Hello, we're gonna do something a little bit different today. We're gonna go off script a little bit. Um, I've decided it's about time I talk about the Muppets because I haven't talked about the Muppets yet. And my name is Fozzie Claire, so I should talk about the Muppets. So I'm gonna start a stopwatch in a few seconds, and I'm just gonna talk. I'm gonna talk my little heart out about the Muppets for 10 minutes because that's how much footage of me reading I have. Okay, are you ready? And stopwatch starts now. Okay, so the main thing that I really don't appreciate is there's so many Muppet purists who are anti-Walter, and everyone's allowed to have their own opinions, but also I think it's so annoying that people are don't like Walter because he is a Muppet fan, and you should be supportive of Muppet fans. And I feel like Muppet purists who are Walter isn't a real Muppet just don't like the idea of fans interacting with the Muppets the same way celebrities interact with Muppets. And you know what? I challenge those people to think of themselves in the same universe, in the same league as the Muppets, because it is the lovers and dreamers and me who make everything so beautiful and so wonderful. And so I feel like in discounting Walter, you're kind of discounting the sort of companion figure. Like if this were Doctor Who, Walter is like the companion figure in the sense of you see through his eyes how grateful he is to be there, and you don't see as much of you see some of the chaos, but it's not something that he's just so grateful to be there, and I think that's so beautiful. And another thing I don't really like about the Muppets, wow, I'm just starting off with things I don't like. I really don't like Muppets Take Manhattan. I used to really not like Muppets from Space as well, but I've kind of just grown to appreciate it more, especially since it's my sister's favorite movie, and I know my sister is one of my only YouTube viewers, so hi Annie. But I can appreciate Muppets from Space in what, oh my gosh, the color palette, oh, so bright, and the living situation, oh, they're all just in a house together in California. That sounds so much fun. That sounds so much fun. But yeah, I appreciate Muppets from Space. Because also we love Gonzo, and we love a Gonzo story, and we love any sort of Gonzo Rizzo bromance. I hate the word bromance. I can't believe I just used the word bromance to describe Gonzo and Rizzo. But what else? Oh, love Muppet Christmas Carol. I think it's a very good adaptation. I know people who it's not necessarily their favorite Muppet movie, and I understand that because the original content, the original stories are more interesting, in my opinion. Because we know what happens in A Christmas Carol. We don't know what happens in The Great Muppet Caper before seeing The Great Muppet Caper, and The Great Muppet Caper, I believe, is the best Muppet movie of all time. And I mean, it's the only one directed by Jim Henson. It doesn't have any Confederate flags in it. There's not any racism in it. What more could you want from a Muppet movie? It's just so beautiful. It's so wonderful. And I love it. And I think if you haven't seen the Muppets, I think The Great Muppet Caper is a great movie. If you saw the Muppets, the 2011 movie, and you're I want to watch another thing that I like, watch The Great Muppet Caper. There was this funny tweet I saw where someone was oh, The Great Muppet Caper, the great Muppet Caper implies the existence of a less great Muppet Caper, and someone else was like, yeah, of course, it's Muppets Most Wanted. And I think that's brilliant, because yes, Muppets Most Wanted is inferior to the Great Muppet Caper, because the Great Muppet Caper is just so wonderful, and it has a water ballet and just like all the stunts and all the it's, and there's just, it gets so dark for no reason, like when Kermit gets held at gunpoint, like oh my goodness, I just, every time it gets me. And the speech where Kermit's like, some of us are gonna die. Like, that is so funny to me. Or even just the Kermit and Fozzie being identical brothers, and everyone, and just like the idea that like you can't tell them apart. Oh, comedy gold. What other Muppet opinions do I have this opinion that, this headcanon, I should say, that Animal is compulsive heterosexual. And you're probably thinking, Claire, why are you putting sexualities on the Muppets? Because a lot of them already have sexualities, like Statler and Waldorf are in love with each other, Beaker and Bunsen Honeydew are in love with each other, Bert and Ernie are in love with each other, and Bert and Ernie are in fact Muppets. That's something people tend to forget. They think, oh, Sesame Street isn't Muppets. No, Sesame Street is Muppets. Sesame Street is Muppets. Okay. But I think, because Animal, well, first off, Janice has had a relationship with everyone in the Electric Mayhem besides Animal. So that's one thing. Because also, like, I'm not to, some people, when I bring this up, some people are like, well, maybe Animal's just not attracted to her. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. Maybe. But also, maybe he's just, like, sort of been conditioned to believe that, like, he should just want food, drums, and women. And, like, he really likes food and drums. But I don't know if he actually really likes women, because I feel like it's just something that he was conditioned into. Like, not, because I know canonically Floyd raised Animal. But I feel like there's something, maybe from before Animal even was, and Floyd even met, like, I think there's something in him that like, something instilled in his upbringing that he's like, you are, like, you consume women, or like, you, like, some sort of patriarchal, misogynistic viewpoint, because it's just always a big thing. It's always a big thing whenever, like, there's women. He's like, oh, woman, and it's like, dude, chill out. Because he's okay, I'm gonna be honest, he's not that sexy. Animal is not that sexy of a Muppet. And you know what? Sue me for saying that. Sue me for saying Animal is not the sexiest Muppet, because I feel like there's so many implications that, like, Animal is the sexiest Muppet, when it's like, no, that's not, no. What other things about, oh my gosh, I do believe we are in Muppet Renaissance, and I might make another video going deeper into that, because we are in a Muppet Renaissance. It is clear from the television show Mayhem, because that was just so good. It was so good. And Muppets Now, I hated Muppets Now, but Muppets Mayhem, so good. And it was a spin-off of, like, these minor characters in the Muppets, and Kermit wasn't even in it, and it was still wonderful. And that just goes to show like how like the tropes that are in the Muppets of like misfits, found family, being rejected by your parents, and then like finding community with other people who are rejected by their parents. So beautiful. So beautiful. And I was worried about Lily Singh, but like she's a good actress. Like everyone, all the humans did such a good job. And the Muppets too. But I think it's good to compliment the humans, because sometimes the humans that they're with that are up against the Muppets are not good. But they were great. Muppets Mayhem is great. And that is 10 minutes. So, that's it.